Hey, Lito Lolo coming back down to earth here, and Daequan and Hamlinz have been away from the world of content creation for several years now, and we came up on the 2-year anniversary of their attempted resurgence where they tried to make a comeback in what they would call the Zoom House. And since OG Fortnite is back, I was feeling a little nostalgic and wanted to talk about it. Now, we all know how that unfortunately ended with an accumulative of 10 videos since their announcement on August 26, 2021, all the way to their last video only 2 months later on October 23rd, 2021. Now, what happened?
It's not lagging right now? It's really not lagging right now?
So guys, I'm going to give you a detailed analysis on what I believe occurred between these two streamers who were once the top dogs of Twitch. But before I do, for anybody who doesn't know, let me provide you with a little bit of backstory. Daequan and Hamlinz both respectively got their reputation on Twitch from streaming Fortnite. And just like everybody from that time frame, their numbers skyrocketed. Now, if we take a look at their streaming hours from the early adolescent stages of Fortnite, we will see that they were on the continuous grind. And on an additional note, while Hamlinz gained some of his viewership from playing RuneScape in 2017 before he transitioned to Fortnite, Daequan actually received all of his viewership from playing Fortnite. If we could see here, he averaged 5 viewers on his first week, and from there it was like an ascendance to heaven because it was nothing but a continuous increase in viewership since that moment. So as I said, it seemed like everybody within that time frame gained some sort of boost in their viewership because Fortnite had some sort of universal crack in it that just gaming can't comprehend to this day. But unlike everybody else, there was something that these two had that just separated them from the rest of the pack. Because not only were they summoned by the Fortnite gods themselves to murder everybody in the lobby, but they were just genuinely entertaining, right? Their personalities shined in comparison to everybody else, with their catchy phrases like,
What do you mean?
I want them toes! Give me them toes, boy!
Give me a kiss, daddy. We be thuman.
Took Daequan on a date, made the napes, and I'm in the back. I'm a hero with a cake, balls never lack, and I'm coming in, got cake, big booty.
they were building a brand and a name for themselves without even being aware of it. It's like they had an innate ability that a selected few had, and boy did they have it. Everybody else agreed too, because we can just see their numbers continuously increase that you would assume Wall Street was trying to purchase their come up like stocks. But then they left the face of the internet entirely. And interestingly enough, they both had the same hiatuses where they disappeared from streaming when COVID was first announced to the world and everybody was advised to quarantine. Now, this would seem like the greatest time to start streaming, but Daequan and Hamlinz were nowhere to be found. Now, both of them did have understandable reasons for leaving. Hamlinz's grandfather had passed away, where he underwent severe depression, and to add to that major struggle, his grandmother was diagnosed with breast cancer, which is a difficult situation for anybody in his shoes to deal with. So I'm sure juggling both streaming and personal life was just a difficult task. Now, Daequan endured a lot of health issues in his early adult life from the ages of 19 to 26, where he was barely able to do any physical activity. And this prevented him from living his life like a normal human being, with his lungs constantly collapsing. To top this off, his girlfriend at the time apparently had health issues as well, where health experts had no solution to her problem. So he decided to take a break away from streaming in order to address these issues. Rightfully so. Now, for a majority of 2020 and 2021, there was no sign of Daequan and Hamlinz, and when the world needed them most, they vanished. Now, apparently, they were cooking up something behind the scenes. They posted these cryptic messages on the same day on their Twitter pages of an eye emoji. Following this was a billboard in California with the YouTube logo emphasized at the bottom, causing the internet to go rampant and make assumptions that they most likely signed to YouTube, especially during this time where a lot of Twitch streamers were making the transition to move to YouTube as a streamer. Following this buzz, they posted a video wearing ski masks where they announced that they were now a part of the NRG organization, where they had a content house called the THouse. Now I'm gonna have to be honest, the marketing they did prior to their return was done beautifully. They did everything right. You know, they built the hype, they emphasized their departure with a funny gimmick with the billboard. You know, it was a perfect ensemblance of what creators should do when they go on a hiatus and decide to come back. And to top this off, they generated a massive amount of positive feedback from this. So when I heard that they signed with an organization, I deep down knew that there were going to be problems to arise from it, but I'll go into detail with that later. For now, they would consistently upload on their THouse channel, uploading 10 videos and occurring approximately 8 million views total across the entire YouTube channel for the next 2 months after their announcement. A lot of the videos we could see were definitely a monetary investment, but once again, we'll go into the organization and the details about that later. But if we take a look at their Twitch tracker over the next 2 months with NRG, they really didn't stream that much. Daequan only streaming 10 times total, and Hamlinz skipping the entire month of September and streaming pretty consistently in October. Now, their last video with the NRG THouse was on October 23rd, 2021, where they then took another hiatus for the rest of the year. This is where negative reception started to plague the internet, and rightfully so, where people speculated that both Hamlinz and Daequan were scamming their fans for subscriptions, and that the only reason they came back to streaming was to get the bag and dip. It was pretty quiet, and there was no communication from both of these creators until Hamlinz tweeted out that he was going live on January 13th, 2022, 3 months after their hiatus, where he didn't address anything that happened within the last few months or anything about their hiatus, but as we can see from the background, that he is no longer in the THouse, bringing us to the assumption that there was some type of falling out with the creators or with the organization itself. Now, he tweeted 3 days after his stream speaking about his depression and that he was going to take another break. And I'm sure a lot of it has to do with the negative reception that he was getting on his return, where the internet seemingly turned on him, right? Which I'm sure is understandable. The social pressures of having to perform in front of an audience and then having to deal with a lot of hate and people creating this false narrative about you is a lot of weight to rest on your shoulders. So I kind of get it.
All y'all motherfuckers talk about rent due.
Eat my ass, motherfucker. Eat it. Ain't no motherfucking rent due, buddy.
Now, Daequan's followed Hamlinz's lead, where he tweeted out, "I'll be streaming tomorrow at 4 p.m. PST. We got a lot to talk about. Miss you. See you soon." On January 22nd, 2022. And this is where we are provided with the details on what happened at the NRG THouse and why it failed. The major issue with the THouse was the house itself and a lot of the internal problems that was going on with it. One of these being, and probably the most important, especially for a house that is supposed to hold 12 content creators. I'm doing that because the only content creators that were known were Daequan and Hamlinz, and the rest of them really didn't have a background experience in content creation at all, was the Wi-Fi, because it was so bad to the point that they weren't even able to properly stream. And as streamers trying to make a proper comeback, that of course was an issue.
So we get there, right? And the internet, it was like, when we first got there, the internet was like, I feel like it was good when we first got there because nobody was really connected to it yet, bro. And then it was like, once everybody set up their computers, they set up everything, like the internet just like, it just took a massive dookie on itself, dog. And it just never fixed the entire time we were there.
I'm sure there was a weight and constant stress that consumed their minds on the daily basis. A difficulty that was hard to overcome. I mean, I get it. When my Wi-Fi goes, completely bonkers. I start to lose my mind like I'm Bruce Banner. I'm about to turn green, for God's sakes. The only thing that makes me mad in this world is bad Wi-Fi. So I completely get it. Especially since I'm sure that the house was leased out for at least a year minimum, just to accumulate it onto the stress. Because it was like one thing that you came back to do, you are unable to do. And a lot of it has to do with the house that you are contractually obligated to stay in, right? It was like instead of a mansion, you were in a prison. Now I'm gonna play devil's advocate once again, but I feel like there could have been solutions. One of these being is that they could have been more vocal and communicate better with their audience on what the situation was. I feel like instead of moping around, they could have provided alternatives for the moment, right? Because all we can control is the moment. Like, invest more time in the NRG THouse content and the videos that you wanted to upload. Now, Daequan said he wanted to wait for the IRL backpack so that NRG could purchase it, but I don't get why he just didn't make that investment himself. I saw that as an excuse and something that could have been easily resolved. Why not just do a just chatting stream with the THouse and, just do an overlay with a camera? Like, that's all you need. And just start freestyling or just do some dumb shit, right? There were so many alternatives that could have happened to raise money for that IRL backpack. And in that way, you wouldn't even need to use that much Wi-Fi because all you're doing is using this one computer. But I don't believe this was the only issue with the THouse. Another problem that I saw was Daequan really wanted his friends to be a part of this journey with him.
So in 2016, when I met a lot of people that I wanted to be in the THouse, I thought of this shit. I was just like, bro, you know how cool it would be if we all were in like a house and we were making content together, playing games like we do now, whatever. You know what I mean? And I always thought that was so dope, bro. And this is 2016.
Issue with this is that he brought on a lot of people that were unknown. It's difficult for an audience to make an investment when they don't really know the person. And to top this off, there were so many of them, it was kind of difficult or even impossible for each of their personality to shine on camera, right? I genuinely believe that Daequan, during his Fortnite days, where he was on top of his game, should have given them the exposure during that time, like he did with his gamer friend Yanni. Now granted, they might have not been, the best gamers, right? So in that case, just do a just chatting stream. Provide them with an audience. Provide them with a familiarity so people can recognize them when you try to put them in this content creation house. Now that doesn't mean that they would have popped off, but they would have built some sort of traction in content creation for people to at least have an understanding and a grasp on who they are, which is another issue because a lot of them didn't even have a background in content creation to begin with. Daequan brought people in that weren't even on the grind. They were just people. Like, I understand wanting to bring your friends on, but if they weren't putting in the work, then why just assume that it was going to be an easy transition to turn them into internet personalities without even having experience in that field in the first place, right? Even now, they're not doing anything. If we take a look at their channels, most of them have been deleted. So it just goes to show that they weren't really passionate for this in the first place. Have them be in the background, have them be your assistant, have them make props, have them being the camera guy. There are so many different things you could have done to assist them instead of making them into content creators. It was a bad business move, a bad business decision. I don't know why NRG even went with it in the first place. The reality of it is Daequan allowed his emotions and his biases to dictate his decisions on this situation. And one of the reasons why the THouse wasn't getting as much reception with their videos, right? Now, something that they could have done was realize that these guys were background characters to their story and bring in big guests like Aiden Ross to feature on their YouTube video so that, it would have been pushed to a larger audience. I mean, if we just look at the comments, majority of the people, I would say 95% of the comments are only there for Daequan and Hamlinz, right? You have to utilize that to your advantage and make better business decisions. Over time, if you waited 2 years, now and made the time investment, people would have started to familiarize with those background characters. I mean, everybody loves a good kankuro now and again. At the start, invest in creators to visit and feature in your videos where you make them the star. Invite Tfue, invite Myth, right? You have such a high arsenal of collaborations and connections at your fingertips, right? And that way you can garner a higher viewership so that your friends can eat. Which brings me to my final point, the signing of the organization NRG. Now, when I immediately heard about this, I was struck with a sense of doubt, because organizations at the end of the day are businesses that make investments and expect investments to make profit in return. So everything you see at the NRG THouse with the Ninja Warrior video, the racing video, the trampoline dodgeball, all the way to the mansion itself was an investment that NRG was making to Daequan and Hamlinz. The reality of it is, and I just want to add this in real quick, but content creator houses are a thing of the past. We are not in 2018 where Faves and Team 10 thrived. We are in the aftermath of COVID in 2021. And as I've said before, a house with people that nobody really knows is going to affect the viewership. Now, if we look at the viewership right now on each one of the videos, they are in the 100,000, which is really good. But we have to realize that this was after 2 years. So I'm going to assume that they had about 50 to 100K less than what they have now, which is still good. But having to feed a mouthful of 12 total people and an organization that takes a great cut of that apple pie can cause some issues. Let's say a video that garners 500,000 makes about 2,500 per 100K views. That means they made about 12,500 off of that video. And let's say NRG was generous and only took 30% of that cut. That means they would have garnered about 3,750. And, you know, let's say Daequan and Hamlinz gets 20% of that as well. Then that would be $1,750 each, while the rest split among 10 people. It'll be $175 each off that one video. Now, I'm sure some people would say that they all signed to NRG, so that they should be contractually obligated to garner more money. But let's be real here. It was an honor for NRG to even sign them in the first place, especially without any prior content creation experience. They probably were signed in a package deal, all 10 of them, for an opportunity, $1,000, and a coupon to Chipotle. I'm just keeping it 100p. Now, other than the money issue, being signed to an organization is a soulless commitment, especially when you are indebted to them. You know, there are going to be a lot of creative conflicts that are going to arise, and when you have an organization that is more business oriented, they have no connection with the audience and what they want in terms of content. And I don't want to make speculations, but I think some internal conflict definitely did happen, where Hamlinz and Daequan broke their contract off with NRG, because as we all know, contracts usually last for a year, but something had to have happened where they stopped making content entirely after 4 months only. Now, there is no contract, especially one that invested an entire house to these creators, that only last 4 months. Something had to have happened behind the scenes, one that still remains a mystery.
Why no more THouse? That is a great question. I know y'all been asking. There's a lot of reasons why there's no more THouse, man. The main reason is the internet was fucking dog shit. Everything was wrong with the house. There was a lot of problems, like disagreements with NRG, with like the editing and how we're supposed to do the content. Cause you know, it's like it was our idea for the channel, but at the end of the day, it's NRG's channel.
Now, these two creators, after their second hiatus, would have bounced back easily, no doubt about it. Although there were doubters, all they really needed to do was push through at least 1 month of content creation to overcome that rough patch, because the internet's attention span is so small that we're getting constant stimulation everywhere that everybody would have lost focus on the entire situation, forgotten about it, or not cared as much, right? They could have turned it into a joke easily, and Daequan could have brought his friends on to his stream where they would have made content, you know, done some sort of content challenge or something like that if he really wanted them to eat that bad. But after Daequan made the statement on his final video of him finally getting to stream consistently.
So what now? I mean, so what now? I mean, I'm gonna be streaming, bro. Like, I'm back at my own house, so I know I got good internet. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna be streaming, bro, because that's all I want to do. I just want to have fun, dude.
All Daequan's fans really got was a handful of more streams before he left streaming entirely once again. To this day, both Hamlinz and Daequan would stop streaming indefinitely, where Hamlinz has occasionally streamed on his alt account a handful of times, saying that he really didn't enjoy the pressure of performing. Now, what happened? Did the backlash and negativity of the THouse hurt them to the point where they didn't feel comfortable to stream in front of a live audience anymore? Was the loss what could have been, like streaming with rappers and big streamers consumed their minds into depression because of all the missed opportunities that they had because of the issues that were going on in the THouse? Now, I don't have the answers for that, but what I could say is that they definitely lost the passion for the game that got them popular in the first place, Fortnite. Because as we can see here in Daequan's gameplay, that he is still attempting to play the game like it's 2018, not realizing that the game has evolved and sweats have adapted to new strategies where we could see him die over and over again. Although Fortnite was a game that got them popular, unlike many other streamer channels that have died over the years after the Fortnite hype, Daequan and Hamlinz were special. And just like Tim the Tatman, Dr. Lupo, Ninja, they could have easily made a transition away from that type of content, no doubt about it. So was the transition to find that game that they were willing to invest their time in just never there? Or just like Hamlinz, was the expectation from his audience to play a specific game just too great, where he couldn't let go of the pressure to just stream whatever he wanted, when the reality of it is, I feel like if he streamed whatever he wanted, the real ones would have stayed. And as we see on his alt account, he still averaged about 2,000 views per stream, which is exceptional for anybody. Now, if Daequan really wanted to do IRL streams, he should have made that investment himself. Sure, IRL backpacks are expensive, but just like he said, he would have made that money back in a month, probably even less than that. So I don't know why he just didn't do that. Why wasn't there any building blocks to fix the situation, at least at a smaller degree? Instead, they both just disappeared for years again. So it seems to me that this is the last time we will hear from Daequan and Hamlinz. Wait, hold up. Hold up. Wait, what? Wait a minute. What is this? For those of you guys who don't know, Bruce Dropamoff, who is a streamer, had his text leaked where he was talking shit about other streamers. One of these streamers included Hamlinz, which is fucking random, but let's run with it real quick. So Hamlinz was offered a deal from Kick's live streaming site where he was going to make $300K a year. To put that in perspective for you, the average national income here in America is $57,000. Hamlinz had the audacity to say that him making 6 times more than the average American was them lowballing him when he hasn't streamed in years. Now, this was the only thing that I agreed with Bruce Dropamoff, because this is genuinely him being entitled. Hamlinz isn't who he was in 2018. Granted, I do believe he can generate an audience, but to say you deserve more than a 6-figure salary after showcasing your inconsistency is irrational, to say the least. I just want to notate that real quick. I do think that if these guys ever do make a return, that they will definitely maintain an audience for sure and also grow from it. But will they ever do that? My guess is as good as yours. Tell me in the comment section below, do you believe that Daequan and Hamlinz will make a return? Anyways, that's all for me. I'm off to another dimension. See ya.
Took Daequan on a date, bathe the napes, and I'm in the back. I'm a hero with a cape, balls never lack, and I'm coming in, got cake, big booty in the back, every single day, every single day.